Buyer's agents, they're a scam. They don't work. People say don't use a buyer's agent. We get it all the time in the comments. They're out there to make money. Well, yes, when you go to your Coles or your grocery store or your butcher, of course, they're there to make money as well. So we've used the buyer's agent, Austin.
Yep.
Once again, we've got Austin back on. For people that don't know, Austin is our operations manager here at Fresh Start Advisory. We've both used buyer's agents. Both have had different experience, positive and negative. Mm-hmm. And today I want to kind of talk about, is a buyer's agent overrated? Overrated. I guess, like I said, I've used it and it's gone one way and that's been a negative way, and people probably heard my story. You've used buyer's agents, actually gone the other way for you.
Yep.
You were a buyer's agent at the company, you're at Fresh Start, and then of course you've moved now into management. What's your take on when it comes to this?
I think they're a heavily underutilized service in Australia for people who don't have a lot of time or understanding. I think that they should be utilized 100%. Like I said, I've done it. There is definitely some duds out there. I'm not gonna say there isn't. Like you have experience, but there is always a beneficial point to having a buyer's agent on your side as well.
Correct. And I think people that are listening, or people that will probably leave some hate there, it's all about the results. If I don't get results for someone, you're not going to go back. It's like if you go to a crappy food store and you get the fruit and veg, or it's all off within a couple of days, you're going, this is crap stuff. Or, you get a product from a store and it just doesn't last and it breaks. Of course, you're not going to go back there. And buyer's agents are the same. There's a lot of buyer's agents, very saturated now. There's a lot of guys doing poor work. A lot of our clients have got great results, and I think that results speak for themselves. But I think, is it doable to do without a buyer's agent?
It's definitely doable. There's with technology the way that it is these days, there's more and more information out there. There's so many different subscriptions you can sign up to, and they have all of that information. The big thing is understanding the information and being able to digest it and not getting overloaded from it as well. I think that's probably going to be the more important point. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do what we do if they have the time. They have a bit of money to spend on some subscriptions, but also they have the understanding, have, I guess, the time to focus on understanding. Like your knowledge and my knowledge, it didn't just come overnight. We weren't just born with it. It takes time to develop it. So if someone wants to get into the market right now, are they going to spend the next 6 months to a year trying to develop that understanding? If they don't have that time, they want to make money straight out the gate and follow the trend of growth, then a buyer's agent who understands it will be 100% the way to go.
Of course, yeah. If you don't know what you're doing, it makes perfectly good sense to say, hey, I'm going to get a buyer's agent to help me buy a property.
Yep. And de-risks you as well, right?
100%. And of course, sometimes, unfortunately, people pick the wrong buyer's agent. Like myself, I bought 2 properties off this company, went backwards, lost $60,000 on the valuation, meaning they have to put an extra $60,000 on top of my deposit. It was a nightmare. But for some people, of course, it works the other way. Like you're of course a testimonial there.
Yep.
Why did you use a buyer's agent when you started out looking for property?
I guess the same reason people use Fresh Start, right? Like there was results. It was proven. There was a significant amount of there was testimonials, there was, hey, this is what happened, this is the growth, perfect. And, I guess there's always a risk in something. So like, okay, I'll take the risk. Either way, I'll own a property at the end of it. So it's still going to be a good outcome either way. Realistically, real estate in Australia has had a trend of growing in value. It was a house that I was buying as well. So there's a pretty substantial trend, and it wasn't, say, in a high volatility area, potentially like a heavy induced mining town or something like that. So there was a whole element that I was able to de-risk straight out the gate by going through them without having done it before, but was able to take the leap and I wasn't living in that area. The area I purchased, which was the original one, was Browns Plains, is South Brisbane region, and so I didn't understand the area. I didn't grow up in that area. But the buyer's agent, it's an area they were buying in the southeast kind of corner. And from that, they understood it. They understood the landscape, understood the infrastructure pipelines, everything like that, understood how to read it and understand it. And then they made a compelling reason why I should buy in there.
So how many properties did you purchase using a buyer's agent?
It's a great question. 4, I think, total.
Yep.
Houses and, houses, duplexes, townhouses, so on. Yeah.
If you're only asking, which agency?
There was actually used 2. One wasn't better than the other. They just had different ways of operating, like the way both of them operated. One was Rethink Investing, very big on the commercial space these days, and the other one was Eddie Deline Buyers Agency, and his way is, I guess, a more affordable approach as well. So 2 different, completely or almost completely different operating methods or ways to view property. Both achieved great results and was able to continue to grow in how I grew my investments from there as well.
That's awesome. What did some of those properties perform? Because you had a positive experience with both of those companies, which they're pretty big companies, been around longer than Fresh Start.
Yep.
Do you know some of the results, or because those properties today, have you still got those properties?
No, I've actually sold them all, repurchased certain other properties, and then sold the rest to put into a business that I operate as well. The results from selling, so this is over a total timeline, would have been 5 odd years, some at 4, some at 5, 6. 70% growth over that timeline. One achieved 100% growth. Another one achieved, I think, maybe 80% growth. It's another one I sold a bit earlier on in the piece, and I think I made a 30% growth in a 12-month period or something, to then scale in and got a higher performing asset, which then performed quite well. Yep. So literally like over 70, 80 to 100% over a 5-year period, which is great, right?
And it worked.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
So if you go out there and do it yourself and you don't get those results, I think it's just the fee you save, if it's $15,000-$20,000 in between there, or there's guys doing it for $5,000 out there. Don't know how good they're going to be, but of course that 100%, 50%, whatever you've made there, it just outweighs that fee. That's how I look at it anyway. So some people don't. They look at it as just, it's a lot of money, which of course it is, but it's a lot of money if it's going to get you the result and if they've got the back results. But today's not the plug us or plug anyone, I guess. It's just the kind of express or show that I guess a buyer's agent can be a great way. Of course, there's a lot of bad buyer's agents, but I think we probably want to touch on that and how to kind of avoid that, because that doesn't get spoken about enough. I know there's people out there like Ben Kingsley, who's actually one of the biggest buyer's agencies out there, I think, Empowered Wealth, and he's trying to, him and I think his partner as well, Bryce Holdaway, and they're trying to, I know you got the PIPA, the PIPA, the association, trying to not regulate the buyer's agent space, but trying to educate them to say like, hey, buyer's agents, start, acting with integrity and stop doing some of the things that are happening out there where people are losing money by buying the wrong asset, again, taken for a ride, and they're not getting the right advice, which happens all the time. Yeah. And they're kind of like advocates for it, which I do applaud them. And I think we do take a leaf of their book, but we see it all the time. How many clients, even when you're purchasing for, that would come to us and they've gone to a bad, dodgy buyer's agent and they've got a property there that's gone backwards or it's just been off the plan and nothing's happened to it.
A few recently, actually. Like I've noticed a trend probably in the last month where there's been, I don't know, I'd probably say 5 in the last month that have been, the notes from our onboarding team have been, had a bad experience with the BA, purchased 2 or 3 different properties with different BAs, bad experiences every single time from in different aspects, whether it's the results or whether it's the level of service and communication or whatever the case is. But yeah, there's definitely a growing trend, and I agree. I do believe there should be some level of regulation out there to hold a certain standard within the industry, because if not, you're just going to have every man and his dog try and flog properties and try and get make a quick quid out of the average Australian, which isn't especially the people who we're servicing, they are putting, better like a word, like they're putting so much trust and faith into us or a general buyer's agent to actually get ahead in life. It's not something to take lightly, I don't think.
No, definitely. And I think if it keeps going the way it goes with the growth of buyer's agency, I think we went to a conference and it was 1% of transactions at the moment are buyers agents.
No, I think it's actually higher. That was 1% back a couple of years ago, but it's increased. I think we're sitting at, I think it's probably closer to 5 right now.
5%. And then in estimate, what was it, 20 or 25% in the next 5-10 years or something?
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, like a ridiculous amount, a quarter of all transactions across Australia.
So if that happens, but there's still issues, then there's going to be regulations coming into this space, I think. Because I think the problem is when you get money, when money's involved, okay, and there's people out there starting a business and there's money involved, greed starts to take place and things start to happen, which are very, very bad things. And people will get burnt on the other end, who are the people that use these buyers agents for a service. So what are some things that you would look at for someone that's looking for a buyer's agent? This is no plug for us. Once again, I don't do this for us. It's actually for people that actually want to search, look for the best person that fits your brief, fits your values, fits what you're looking for, and that you relate with. But what are some of the things that you would say to someone? Okay, you want to go out there, look for a BA. What are some of the things that you're looking for?
Yep. I'd say the biggest thing would be someone who fits your values. You kind of mentioned it there. We have certain values at Fresh Start. Every company has certain values. Like that's any company in the world. You're in Fresh Start, or if it's bloody Meta or whatever. Every company has values that they uphold and they kind of dignify. If it's a big thing for you to, I want to be able to essentially meet my buyer's agent. By all means, like go and meet them. If they're in your local area, odds are there probably is one in your local area right now. Go and meet them if that's what you need to do. The second thing, if not, like obviously Zoom calls and everything, in the world we live in. Second thing, and definitely be track history. I think it's a pretty big thing. Obviously, there's like Fresh Start didn't have a track history going back 5 years ago, but it is a big thing to have a track history. Back 5 years ago, there wasn't a lot of BAs in the space either, right? So if there's a BA that has values that you want, but then also has a track history of, let's say it's for investment purposes, they have that track history of growth from their properties, and then obviously the Google reviews and everything else that goes along with it. I think that's a very strong start to what could be a potential awesome investment for yourself.
Yeah, yep. And I think adding on that, I think if you want to pick someone in your local area, make sure they're a specialist in their local area. I think when I started out, I got a great piece of advice from probably the best property researcher in the country. And he said, Frank, before you do anything, and this is before we're buying for clients, we're buying for our friends and family, just before that, and then we kicked off Fresh Start. He goes, become a specialist in one area. Understand how one area works, how the economy works, how the property market has cycled during the last 30 years or plus, and they understand that market. So if you're going to go pick someone as well, and you want to pick someone in your own backyard that understands their own market, they're investing there, of course, fantastic. If you want someone that wants to do nationwide, that's a different story. But make sure they actually know that economy really well. I think it's a great tip to understand. Like you sit down with someone, you might not know what to, ask in the sense of, you might not know much about a property cycle, how it works or how property data works, but just question them, say like, what makes you think this area is going to be a great area? Can you show me facts of why you think this area is going to be a great area to invest in? Like what, how long have you been doing this and what are some of the case studies you've got or what are some of the results you've got? Can you share them with me? And I think that will go a long way to, even if they show you something like all this data, at least it's evidence of something there. And if you don't know what it is, take a screenshot, go learn about it. There's AI these days that give you so much information or stuff on the internet that you can look up to say, hey, what does this mean? Whatever they've given you to understand what you're getting yourself into. Don't look at a brochure and say, oh, they said that there's a new Bunnings getting built down the road or a new McDonald's because that gets thrown out the, at the window. Straight away because that's a red flag for me, but that gets used a lot with these other companies that sell off the plan bullshit. Yeah, because the Bunnings is really going to push up a property market. That adds a lot of value to property prices. I think. Yeah, right.
That's exactly right. There needs to be, from macro down to micro, and obviously it's different if it's an investment comparison to an owner-occupied based buyer's agency. Everyone has their kind of specialty, like you said, and their niche market. Fresh Start has borderless, but also like humble, smart, gives you everything, service level of communication, everything, but also the results, right? Other people, they just focus in, let's say, the northern suburbs of Sydney, and they'll know every single real estate agent in there. They'll know every single property, every single street. They'll know that area so well off the back of their hands. So I think if someone can justify 100% undoubtedly why that is the area to invest, and why, if you said, would you invest here? 100%, I would invest here because, all these macroeconomic data, supply, demand, the economy, the GDP increasing, the population, migration, all these different factors, they can provide all that. Makes sense, right? It's a no-brainer. If they can't provide it, why are they trying to sell it? Or, lack of a better word, sell it to you. Why would you be buying in there if they can't justify it themselves?
Yeah, I question that too, and I think there's even guys still buying in like some of the big markets, like your Brisbane's or your Townsvilles and Rockhamptons and stuff now, and I kind of sometimes question that as well because we've had our clients achieve some amazing growth and they're still achieving that, but it's like you're getting too close to a top of a market as well. So I think understanding your market cycle, and that doesn't take someone that's a rocket designer or someone that's an engineer or something like that. You can be a person that just on a minimum wage that understands how to read a chart that shows how much has this market grown, and if the chart is just ramping up over the last 3, 4, 5 years, maybe you're getting close to the top of that cycle because the market will only grow 5 to 6 years, maybe 7 years of strong, solid growth, and then it'll start to slow down. It's never ever gone for 10 years plus.
Yep. And on top of that, if they can do a review of it, we have clients come through all the time. Even ones that already own a portfolio, and they're like, hey, can I get a bit of an understanding of these other properties? Whether it's an established market or whether it's the new builds that they've just purchased, whether it's buyer's agent or not. And they're like, can I get a bit of an understanding of my entire portfolio? And whether it's yourself or myself, we'd do it. And it's like, this is great. It's performing well. Doesn't look like it's going to slow down. This one is also great, slowing down, but still performing well. This one here, you're not getting growth. At least in this next 12 months, there's the supply economics are way out of whack. There's so many different metrics which aren't working in your favor whatsoever. Yeah. So if they can, same thing. If they can provide that justification or review anything, whatever, then obviously it goes a long way and help you understand the whole buyer's agency. For me, it's educating. Obviously, everyone wants to have a repeat client 5 times over, but you also want a client who understands and educates. Their investment journey will be a hell of a lot better, and they'll be able to continue to prosper over time as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if someone there listening to this watches this, they have got presented a property, they're not sure if that's a great property, I wouldn't go to your friends and family that haven't got property or understand property. I would actually just pay someone, go to another buyer's agent, go to someone that you've got no ties to, and say, hey, can you just review this for me? Is this a great property? And maybe someone in that state or in that area, because I think that there is a secret piece to just making sure you're doing the right thing. Because if you are going to buy a property and you don't know if it's a good property or not, it can actually affect you. I've got a client, and this client, I won't mention the name. They bought a property in Donnybrook, Victoria, which is north of Melbourne, straight ahead up on the Hume Highway. It's a new estate area, okay? There's literally one road in, one road out. It's terrible. If you watch it in the morning, we'll actually drive up there. We were seeing a location a couple of weeks ago. So we're driving past, and you could see on the estate, there was these bank of cars trying to get out of the estate and come onto the freeway to come into Melbourne to work. Yep. And it was just chockers. And I was like, this is terrible. Anyway, he's come to me. He's like, look, Frank, he bought 2 properties with us. Yep. The properties done extremely well. He's got this property he bought before us, coming to us, and he's like, I'm selling it. It's at the same price. Or if not, it's gone a little bit backwards. It hasn't grown in value. What you take, I go, the market's not looking good. I go, there's more and more properties coming to the market. The building approvals are through the roof, meaning there's more properties getting built. That there has cost him 5 years of opportunity growth. Yep. The property hasn't grown. It's gone literally a little bit backwards, and he's going to sell probably for the same price. He bought a property in Rockhampton in Gracemere. We paid like $360 or $380, and then we bought a property in Gladstone for like low 300s. Yep. Those properties today, we all know what those are.
6+.
6+. So they're nearly doubled in value. Yeah. I think they're just shy of doubling. We're going to do another recent val, but he's missed out on that. Imagine that you've bought a property for 300-something thousand. At the same time, he could have bought another one for 300,000 and made 300,000 in 5 years' time. So I think that piece of advice of going to someone else independent, get them to review it, another buyer's agent, another professional. I think that can go a long way instead of going to someone that actually hasn't got no idea about if it's a good investment or not.
Yeah, an opportunity cost I think it's heavily unspoken, and that goes for any industry, buyer's agency or not. But you make an investment, and then a lot of people they don't like to lose money, right? Say if this one is $10,000 negative or whatever, is it people don't want to take that loss? They don't want to have it actually triggered, I guess, like that. It's physical then. It's like, crap, I lost $10,000. In a day, to me, $10,000 doesn't matter. It's you lost it. You can either keep it there and you can hold it until it turns around. Over time, it will. I don't have a concern around that. Or you could sell it, take the loss, but then have the plan to actually, what am I going to do with the money if I do sell it? So then you can, recoup that loss. I did it. It was, but my story was different. First property I ever purchased was an occupier. It was a 1-bedroom unit. My wife and myself were on the Gold Coast. It was like perfect for us. It was based around lifestyle. So when you're buying a property, it's two different things. How I see it anyway. One is you buy with your heart, or you buy with your head. Head being investment, heart being an occupier. It was with our heart. We lived in it. We moved for work purposes. When we moved away, it essentially became an investment. From that, it wasn't moving. And I'm like, I want to do something. It's, it's neutral, but it's annoying me because it's not growing. We could have held on to it longer, or we could have sold it and put into a better investment. That's what we did. We sold it. I think we took a $10,000 loss on it, nothing crazy. And then from that, we went to a buyer's agent. We were living way out west, said, I want to get investment. They assisted. And from that $10,000 loss turned into over the space of 3 years, $330,000 gain. So it's like, people always question should I take the loss? Like, if you have a plan, take the loss because it's going to make you a lot of money in the future, right?
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be to my client Francesco, who I hopefully he listens to this. He bought a property, not with us, before he came to us. He bought a property off the plan property in Footscray. That property has dropped value by nearly, I think, $100,000. It's in his super. And I said to him, just cut your loss, move on. And if you're listening to this, Francesco, please just look at maybe cutting your losses and just moving on. Because if he holds it for, I know he's going to hold it for until he tries and breaks even, but I don't think he will because I know that market quite well. You can sit there for the next 5 years and you're not reap any reward. So you've done it. You weren't earning any money. You had a loss. You sold it and you gained on it.
Yep.
And I've done the same thing. I had a property in Cranbourne that went backwards, and probably people have heard that story multiple times. I'm not going to repeat it, but basically just. Yeah, it wasn't a good thing, but I got cut that loss and I turned that and I bought a property in Bunbury. I sold that property. Yeah. That's when we bought that one in Bunbury.
Cracker property, right?
Paid $430 for it. Today's probably worth close to $700,000.
Yeah, and that was over less than 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2022 we bought that. So it's just look at it and say, okay, the opportunity cost is going to be far outweigh than just I've lost money now here. I better just hold on for dear life.
And a big thing that we haven't even gone into, it's actually it's an infinite system, right? So let's say your property in Bunbury or my property that I had as well, but let's say your property in Bunbury, you took a loss, you flipped the money back into what was left, you put that into the Bunbury property, that Bunbury property has grown in value, you're able to take money back out of that Bunbury property to then feed into another property. So over that same time period, let's say we're talking on a 5-year timeline. If you held that property for 5, or even actually let's say 10, might be cleaner, 10-year timeline, 5 years on property A hadn't grown in value whatsoever. You hold it for another 5 years and then you decide to sell. Let's say best case you break even or whatever. Your situation, you took your loss, you rolled into Bunbury, at that time period you made $300,000+. But then you've also rolled the equity from that into other properties, which have then also grown in value. So it becomes an ever evolving number, right? So that number, that loss that you took, keeps on growing and growing, and over a 10-year time period, like it's not just that initial 300 grand, it's the multiple properties afterwards. So that could be like an $800,000 win from whatever the loss was that you took, which is, once again, heavily underplayed in Australia. Like, you could, if you keep on doing that, imagine if you buy 5 or 6 over that same time period, be a $1.5 million opportunity gain if you didn't take that opportunity loss.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, 100% agree. It's. I think people got to look big picture, and it's hard. It's very, very hard, especially for the older generation as well. Yeah. And Frank's one of our clients. He's the older generation. That's fine. I think it's, and look, my parents are like that as well. And I hate a loss too. Don't get me wrong, I hate it. And sometimes you just want to try and get that loss back and make it a win. But sometimes I think we just got to say, okay, let's just move on and let's cut the loss and look at the future, because the future is always brighter than what the past was.
Yep.
Because you got the control. So once again, this is not a plug for us to use our services or anything like that, or use it, buyer's agent. It's to educate. There is a lot of shonky people out there. There is a lot of shit going on that's not good. It's not regulated, unfortunately, in this space. So do your research, educate yourself, go out there. If you're going to use someone, make sure they resonate with you. Yep. Is there anything else that we've missed, Ozzy, that I think we can touch on?
No, the thing I'd always come back to is never take someone's word. Everybody always hears something from, whether it's from family or from friends. Someone's had a bad experience. They'll take that, as gospel, essentially. So this buyer's agent wasn't great. They did X, Y, Z. Potentially true for that person. Doesn't mean it'll be not true for you. And especially when you kind of roll it out to the broader community of buyer's agents as well, that one family or friend, whoever had a bad experience with that buyer's agent, like, I'm never using a buyer's agent again. It's like, that's not true. Buyer's agents are great. They serve a very heavy purpose in Australia, especially as times are evolving. You've got two parents or two people in a household working full-time, more and more hours. You don't have the time to put into it, and it makes sense, financial sense, to go and invest with the buyer's agent if they have the track history and have all of the understanding, the education, and all the values that you share. Then it makes sense. But don't just take what someone else says as a gospel, because there is buyer's agents out there who want to do the right thing. You've had a bad experience. I've had multiple good experiences. I know that that's always going to happen, but do your research. Just don't listen just to one person.
100% agree. We'll leave it at that. Once again, I guess if you feel like there's a friend out there or someone else that you think this could resonate with them, please share this, actually, because it actually means that hopefully it stops him from doing something quite silly or quite stupid, and it actually stops him from making a bad mistake. And thank you again for listening, and we'll see you at the next episode.